Hello world, I think I'm live. See someone saying hi, good. Hey everybody. I'll give a couple minutes for people to join in as we start. And if you'd like to, go ahead and tell me where you are in the world, either your state in the United States or your country. Hey everybody. It'd be interesting to see where people are at. Sometimes I look at the YouTube stats and it's pretty astounding how you can reach the whole world these days from your living room or your office. Hello everybody. Keep in mind that since this is a Q&A, people will be able to see your handle on YouTube. So if it happens to be something you want to keep secret for whatever reason, maybe sign in on a different account. See, we have someone from Delhi in India, 2 people from India, 1 from Texas. What's up everybody? I'm of course in Portland, Oregon. It's a beautiful sunny day outside. Hey Rasmus, good to see you again. Your stream is echoing. That's bad. Is everybody hearing that? How about now? Are we still echoing? Try this one. Oh, now people are saying it's good now that I plugged in the different mic. How about now? Now people are saying it's good now that I plugged in the different mic. How about now? How about now? Keyword of PIED at 100 days. Good job. Alright, I'm going to go ahead with this mic. As we go along, if you have any questions, you want to share anything from your own journey, get some feedback. Like a 10-second delayed echo. Damn. Alright, I'll try ending the stream temporarily and then come back in. Alright, we're going to try this one more time. Now, if you see me that I'm back, tell me if you can hear me alright. I wish live streaming was easier. Seems like every single time there's something that goes wrong. Still echoes, still 10-second lag. It's better, apparently. Repeats what I say, but it's better. Huh. Well, I guess we'll keep going unless it's totally intolerable. Alright, I'll start answering your questions. And just let me know if we get any more technical difficulties. We got someone from Mount Pleasant, Iowa, LA, Missouri. Yes, it is indeed a sunny day in Portland. It rains less than we'd like to tell other people, because we don't want them moving here. One individual says he's 18 years old and he has a question. What do you do after you fall in an extreme binge, and how do you get back on track? I'm on a 2-day binge where I fapped 10 times each day. That's definitely a binge, and it's probably taken you back to ground zero, I hate to say, at least in terms of recovery from the addiction and in recovery from any sexual dysfunction you might be struggling with. But there is a lot you can learn from that. And if you can take that knowledge away and change something, do something different, then it can mean something. And what I see making the difference most often for people is letting other people in and asking for help. And if you haven't done that yet, then I really, really recommend doing so. I definitely, in my own journey, thought that I could handle things on my own, and always had that sense of pride that I didn't want to have to ask for help. I didn't want to have to let other people in, but I needed to. And most people I work with need to make that step as well if they have any trouble with addiction and controlling their use of pornography. And so please consider going to someone you trust, a friend, family member, a priest, whatever it might be, and telling them what you're going through. It might be something that you're terrified of, it might be terrified of judgment or of embarrassment, but trust me, if you find the right person, and many of the people in your life will be the right person, then it's really going to help not only to get that off your chest and to let someone know what you're struggling with, but also ask them to help out. One way they can help out is with Covenant Eyes. And I don't know if I ever said this, but that was an essential part of my recovery after I went through my own relapse period, was using Covenant Eyes and installing that software on my devices. If you haven't heard of it, it's not something that sponsors me. I don't get any money from selling it, so don't think that. It's like $15 a month, and it's a software that you install on your devices. It keeps track of your searches, your browser history, and sends anything that seems suspicious to your chosen accountability partners. So if you play your cards right, then when you are browsing the internet, you know that it's not private, it's not secret, and you'll have to talk to your mom or your priest or your friend or whoever it might be, and it can be multiple people, about what you've been doing. And that can be a step that really makes a difference for a lot of people. It's just knowing that they're never really truly alone when they're on the internet, and that their behavior on the internet doesn't exist separate from the rest of their life. We jump around randomly to some other questions. Eric Smith says, how rigid is the 90-day recovery from PIED? That seems to be the expert opinion around the internet, that 90 days is a magic number. It's not a magic number. What I usually tell people is that most people can see very significant progress in 90 days, and most people can fully recover within a year. 90 days isn't magic though, and it's not going to be the same for everybody. Many people will get to the point where they can have sex if they have PIED within 90 days, but most all of them will still see a lot of progress past 90 days when they keep going and keep recovering, keep healing. But it's not at all uncommon for guys to still be unable to have sex or get over whatever sexual dysfunction they're struggling with after 90 days. And if you're still in a flat line then, or you haven't made as much progress as you think you should have, don't despair. That's perfectly normal. And 3 months after that, it might be a completely different experience of sex. I'm gonna try not to miss questions. Did you take any recovery course or any therapy during Reboot, or with your hard work and knowledge you did? No, I didn't take any recovery course. Back in 2014, I couldn't find anything. And maybe there's more available now than there was then, 5 years ago. But at the time, no, and I couldn't find therapists in my area who had knowledge about it. And that's getting better as well, but we still have a long ways to go before people can go to a doctor or a therapist and they're well versed in all this and can point you in the right direction. And that's something that I think we really need to work on. Because right now you can find a lot more information online doing your own research than you'll probably get from a medical professional, depending on your luck and who you go see, which is unfortunate. Want to know your full recovery story? Please make a video on that. I've made a couple videos on that. You can go back and see one of the episodes of Love People Use Things. I think it was my 2nd or 3rd episode with that podcast. It's on my website, addictedtointernetporn.com, and on lovepeopleusethings.fm. I went through my whole recovery story in that video. Though, of course, the absolute extent of all the details you can't fit into an hour. Toronto, Canada. Cool. Just relapsed. I hear you, man. Like I was telling the previous gentleman who's been binging, it doesn't have to mean the end of your journey. No relapse has to mean the end of your journey. You should always get back up, learn what you can, and change something. I have wet dreams every 10 to 12 days when I'm on reboot. If you could further explain, and also if this is normal, or is there any way to control or stop it? I don't know of any way to stop wet dreams. Some people have success if they are having orgasm outside of sleeping. It tends to reduce the frequency of their wet dreams or eliminate them. So if you're having regular sex, or if you're masturbating porn-free, which is an option, and that's something I can talk about for a while too, is masturbation without pornography just as bad or almost as bad as masturbation with pornography? And that does depend on the individual. Like, it's not a hard and fast rule for everybody, but a lot of people can masturbate porn-free, even if they have a porn addiction or have developed a porn-induced sexual dysfunction. They can do that in moderation if they're doing it the right way. Gentle stimulation, lubrication, and realistic fantasy, either memories or things that could happen in their lives in the future, and not something that's porn-inspired or third-person or memories of pornography. And a lot of people can do that in moderation without the negative effects that they're trying to recover from. Some people find that they cannot, and that masturbation without porn is also damaging to their mental state. They spend a lot of time recovering from it. They might have hangover symptoms, and it's just not something that they find they want in their lives. But a lot of people can. And do I recommend doing it right as you quit pornography? It depends on your situation. If you're finding it impossible not to engage in some sort of sexual self-touch, then it can be a stepping stone, and you can try just removing the pornography and continue to masturbate porn-free until you have some distance between yourself and porn. And then, if you want to, try to go completely abstinent, or reduce that frequency of masturbation and see how that affects you. For other people who can do it, I recommend a complete period of abstinence after quitting pornography for at least a month, 3 months. That's probably a good time period. But listen to your body, and if your libido starts to come back strongly and you feel like masturbating porn-free and that's something you've accepted that you might want in your life, then go ahead and try it. But if your body's not feeling that way, don't force it either. So that's an option you could do, is if you don't have a partner, you can masturbate porn-free with moderation and see if that reduces your wet dreams. But I'm guessing that the reason you don't want them is because you feel like they hold you back, or maybe afterwards for a couple of days you feel less libido, and that's just something that you're going to have to work through. It shouldn't prevent you from recovering from a sexual dysfunction. It shouldn't prevent you at all from recovering from an addiction. So my suggestion is to make peace with it, or if you want to, you can try porn-free masturbation and see if that reduces its effect. Once I recover completely, can I still get ED or PE or PIED from just social media? Probably not, but it depends on how you use it. If you are masturbating to it or getting aroused by it consistently and really diving into that, then yeah, you can get your sexual dysfunction back or maintain a sexual dysfunction from that. It's not about looking at what society recognizes as porn. For a user, for an addict, for someone with that porn-induced sexual dysfunction, whatever you're looking at on a screen or an artificial medium that is arousing to you, that you go to for that erotic buzz, that's porn for you. So if that's how you're using social media, then maybe it's still harmful. But if you're just using it to connect with people, etc., then it shouldn't be an issue. Phil plans on quitting masturbation permanently. People do that. Yeah, like I said, depends on the individual. If I got to find out what's right for you, that's certainly possible, and it certainly works best for some people. If I watch porn during reboot, so then I will start again. If you're asking if watching porn once means that you should reset a counter, It's up to you. Is that going to be beneficial for you to reset your counter? Is it going to reaffirm your commitment not to use porn at all? Or will it feel like a total failure, and will you want to console yourself by using more porn? Watching porn once on a long streak, it won't erase what you've done. The most damage it will probably do is reactivate your cravings and your urges to use more. And that's the biggest danger of it. So restart your counter or don't, whatever works to keep you inspired and motivated and on the right track. You're doing this for yourself, not for me or for anyone else. Isaiah asks, is hard mode a must because I'm married? It depends on the person, and you're going to be hearing that a lot from me today and every other day, because it does. For some people recovering from a sexual dysfunction, they do need a period of time, at least without penile stimulation. That doesn't mean no intimacy, doesn't mean no rewiring. You can still be close with each other, make out, play around, but some people do need that period without penile stimulation. And that you'll be able to tell just by listening to your body if you're ready for that, as long as you are listening and paying attention. If it feels like you have to force an erection, or it feels unnatural or very difficult to get aroused, to get an erection, to reach an orgasm, then don't force it, don't push it. Listen to your body and move on to something else. Have fun in another way. Give it more time. Some people can recover from a sexual dysfunction by without much hard mode at all, and other people need some more time. Omar asks, hi Noah, I'm 22 and I've been struggling for about 3.5 years with PMO, and I've been thinking of telling someone. Should I tell my father? I no longer live with him, and I don't know what it would do for me. I don't know your relationship with your father, but it could be very beneficial, as long as he's someone who you think would be understanding and not shame you for what you're going through, and be willing to help in whatever way he could. And one way he could help was how I talked about before, just being an accountability partner on Covenant Eyes. And so when he sees something suspicious, he can give you a call, ask how you're doing, ask about whatever he saw on the Covenant Eyes report. And if you're like most people, just the knowledge that he's there with you when you're online, he's going to get a report, is going to be very inspiring to not search for pornography, or at least allow it to be much, much less severe when you do relapse. And I really recommend not trying to find loopholes in Covenant Eyes. And there might be some, I don't know. There may be loopholes, but you never know what you search is going to get sent to your accountability partners. And most often it sends more false positives than false negatives. Why am I feeling lethargic on NoFap? If it's specifically because of NoFap, then it's most likely because you're used to depending on either stimulation from pornography or regular masturbation and orgasm. And it's just like with another foreign substance that people get dependent on, like nicotine. Once your body gets used to it, it starts to think of it as a necessity. And without it, your body sort of rebels and gives you those withdrawal symptoms, makes it unpleasant until you soothe yourself by introducing more nicotine. And the same can be true of orgasm and of porn use. So if you're feeling lethargic, feeling low energy, it might just be your body rebelling and getting used to this new reality, and it should be temporary. There's nothing magic about pornography or orgasm that gives you energy. Eugene asks, is age a factor? Meaning the older you are, the harder it is. Age is a factor in a variety of ways. The first time age becomes a factor is the first time you're exposed to pornography or when you start using it. And the younger you are when that happens, generally the more likely you are to develop issues and to have a longer, more difficult recovery when you do decide to quit and heal yourself. Which tends to mean that the people who struggle most and have a harder time recovering are actually the younger guys or women. And often those are people who developed a conditioning for pornography before ever having a real relationship, real sex, real intimacy. And that can make it a lot more difficult as well. Can older guys struggle more? Well, if you have more time of your life, more years, more decades using pornography, then it might be more difficult to leave it behind. That is true. But as far as sexual dysfunction goes, as long as there's no other confounding variables, like a physical erectile dysfunction, clogged arteries, injury, etc., low testosterone. And testosterone usually isn't a factor, but it can be, especially for older guys. As long as none of those is interfering with the recovery, then it shouldn't be longer or more difficult for older guys. David asks, what does PIED stand for? Porn-induced erectile dysfunction. James says hello, he's a porn addict. Many of us are, it's okay. Mr. Smith has 3 months PMO free. Congratulations, my friend. Rushikesh asks, can we watch YouTube while we are on NoFap? And like with social media, it depends on how you use it. If you're using it to watch my stream or otherwise educate yourself or even entertain yourself in non-sexual ways, then it's probably fine. If that tends to be the gateway for you to start looking at sexual content and then escalate from there, then maybe it's the right move to not use YouTube, at least for the first couple of months. Is it okay to have sex and orgasm early in recovery? On my 10th day, I was only able to maintain an erection while inside her, and I was able to orgasm without fantasizing about porn. Generally, sex is going to be a positive during recovery, as long as it doesn't feel like you are forcing arousal or needing to fantasize to maintain arousal or to reach orgasm, or you need an undue amount of stimulation to reach orgasm. If you can reach orgasm with PIV, penis and vagina sex, and you don't need to fantasize in order to maintain that arousal, then it's generally going to be a positive. If you find that you fall into a flatline after doing so consistently, then you might need some more time completely abstinent, and that might help you. But generally, it's going to be a positive. If you go 2-3 months and you're having sex fairly regularly and you're not seeing a lot of progress, you're not seeing a lot of improvement, then it might be beneficial to say, I'm going to take a month, no penile stimulation, and you can still be intimate in other ways, but take that month and then try again afterward and see if there's an improvement. Control Commerce asks if anyone wants to be an accountability partner. Send him a DM. And online accountability partners can be very helpful, connecting with people who are also going through this. But I do recommend having at least one accountability partner who's someone you know in your personal life as well, because it's a lot more daunting to explain your porn search history to your sister, for example, than it is to explain to some stranger on the internet who's also a porn addict. Edwin asks, could you be specific on what is a relapse? This is probably the most common question I get in various forms, like, hey, I did X, does that constitute a relapse? And I get most of them as comments on the video I made about this topic. So I recommend you go watch that video, because not to insult you or anything, because I understand wanting the answer to that question, but that's probably the most annoying question I get too. Because like sometimes I get ones that are like, I held hands with a girl, is that a relapse? And I'm not sure if they're joking or not. A relapse is something you define for yourself. A relapse should describe a behavior that you no longer want in your life. Have you engaged with that again? Have you engaged with that in just once? Then maybe it's just a slip. Has it been several times? Is it coming back into your life? Are you going back to the beginning? It's more of a relapse. For most people, that's looking at or masturbating to pornography. For some people, that's also masturbation or fantasy. And it really depends on your own journey and what you want in your life. Ahmed says, dude, I discovered I have PIED in 2016 and I am still struggling. I tried everything on YouTube and YBOP and didn't work. The urge is always so strong. I guess I didn't make decision to quit. So it sounds like it's not that you quit porn and have failed to recover from PIED, but that you were not successful in becoming porn free. And that's totally understandable. I've worked with guys who have struggled to quit longer than you have. It doesn't mean that it's forever. There's still definitely hope, and you can still get out of this. I've given some advice earlier in this stream about how to do that. There's a lot more in my book if you haven't read it already. You can get the PDF for free, by the way, on my website, addictedtointernetporn.com. But my greatest piece of advice, like I've said earlier in this stream, is to keep changing things and keep learning. Don't give up. And if each relapse is an opportunity to change your environment, to change your approach, to change your access to the internet and your devices. If it's always to a smartphone, and if it's always in your room at night, then either get a lockbox and lock your smartphone up at 8 p.m. without fail, or leave it in the kitchen, don't bring it into your room, or get a dumb phone. Shut down the smartphone and get a dumb phone. Something like that. Kremlin says, you're 60, been a porn addict for as long as you can remember. I understand, man. I've worked with guys older than you. There's a video on my channel, interview with a man who's 70, who just left behind his pornography addiction a couple of years prior. So go ahead and watch that video. You might find it enlightening. I'm on day 98. Tefadzwa says, I feel a lot of progress. Your book helped me. I watched P yesterday out of curiosity. I know it was a dangerous stunt. I felt disgusted. I didn't M or O, all thanks to you. Yeah, I understand wanting to go back out of curiosity and see how pornography affects you. But I really recommend that you recognize that voice inside for what it is, which is that addicted part of you, wanting any rationalization, any way to convince yourself to go ahead and open that browser window and type in that search term and look at pornography again. Once an addict, that's always going to be beneath the surface, ready to be reawakened. And you have to be vigilant about recognizing that even though you've been clean for almost 100 days, or in the future a year or 2 years, you're still not going to be able to go back and look at porn just for curiosity and have it have no effect. It's going to have an effect. That doesn't mean that your progress is dashed or anything. If you looked at porn briefly and didn't masturbate or orgasm, it's not going to have that much of an effect on your overall recovery. Its biggest effect will be greater urges, greater cravings in the near future. So be aware of that. Alex indeed asks, what do you think of furniture-free living? I don't have many thoughts on furniture-free living. I've never encountered the concept, to be honest. You can see I have a chair behind me and a table. So I'm not a furniture-free lifestyler yet, but who knows, maybe in the future. Rasmus, you ask, as you know, I have completed the 90 days, then relapsed several times. Slow and steady recovery. I am able to have sex but not ejaculate. Can you give me advice on how to keep recovering with a partner? I struggled with the DE, delayed ejaculation, for a long time too. And even after recovering from PIED, a lot of people still struggle with that, reaching orgasm, recovering sensitivity. My greatest piece of advice is to reserve all sexual stimulation for being with your partner. So not allowing yourself any other means of orgasm. So while for some people I could advise porn-free masturbation, for someone who's struggling with DE, I advise against it. Because as long as you have that outlet, your body basically interprets that as, okay, we're sensitive enough. But if you don't have that outlet, then your body has to adapt to the given stimulus, which is real sex, real intimacy. And aside from that, try not to force it. Try different positions. The right bodily position during sex can actually help a lot, reaching orgasm. Freddie says, hi bro. Hey, what's up? Danny says, I'm about to relapse because I want orgasm so bad. If you're like most people I work with and pornography is really the problem, then porn-free masturbation is an option. And if you're really that horny, then you shouldn't even need any fantasy, just lubrication and stimulation to sensation. And if that's not enough for you, if you can't get aroused to that or can't reach orgasm, then that should be a wake-up call, because it means you're not actually that horny. You don't actually need orgasm that bad. That means that what you're likely feeling is an addictive urge rather than true horniness. The other option is to maintain your abstinence. And if you can do that, then that might be ideal, because you're teaching yourself that you're in control and that your sexuality, your need for release, doesn't have the reins. You do. Danny's on day 70. Good job. Keep going. I think this is Arabic, which I don't know what that says, but welcome to the stream. I'm glad you're here. Misunderstood's at day 13. JC asks, how do you stop mental visuals of porn that swaps from scene to scene every 7 seconds between 10 scenes in my head, and I can't orgasm? I'm not sure if you mean like during sex or during porn-free masturbation, your mind keeps going there. I would recommend just practicing mindfulness and accepting that not having an orgasm is okay. It's fine to be having sex and not be able to reach orgasm and call it off and just end it without an orgasm. Women do it. Women do it all the time. So can we. And practicing mindfulness, what I mean by that is practicing being in the present. And you can Google this, mindfulness meditation, mindfulness practice. And the more we practice something, the better we get at it. So if you're practicing that with meditation and with active mindfulness and other non-sexual aspects of your life, you'll be able to use that more effectively during sex and keep yourself in the present, focused on what's happening in real life. Blackie Key says, hey Noah, I sent you an email on the 28th of February. Can you answer it? Yes, I will answer it. I answer all my emails, but sometimes it takes me a while. Have a little patience, and I'll get back to you soon. Getting a lot of questions. I'm probably not going to be able to get to everybody today. So if you would like to get my personal help on a more extensive basis, you can find out how to do that on addictedtointernetporn.com. There's ways to get my help over email, over phone call, video call, and a variety of other ways. So I'm available there, and I'll be doing more streams like this in the future. Eric has been porn-free for over a year. Congratulations, my friend. For the past 4 months, I've had a partner and found that my sexual dysfunction is significantly better. What's your experience with a new partner? Did PIE come back? I think you mean PIED, maybe. My experience is with a new partner, it can take little rewiring, especially at the beginning, in order to get comfortable and used to that new sexual stimulation. But over time, it should continue to get better and better, as long as you maintain porn-free. And if you're with a partner and having consistent sex, but you'd like to see more progress, then I recommend being masturbation-free as well. PIED should not come back as long as you are not using pornography, not using any pornography substitutes, and not masturbating overly much. But I have seen cases where people are still conditioned to the novelty of pornography, and they might be able to perform with a new partner but quickly lose interest because they're trained by their pornography use to always be looking for something new, a new sexual partner, new scene, new genre, whatever it might be. And so if you notice that happens, then you just still need more time away from pornography. I advise not masturbating at all and confining your only sexual stimulus to be with that partner, and you will recover and you will adapt. David asks, so many YouTubers who advocate no-fap say that one of the benefits is that your penis will actually get bigger or grow the way it was meant to be before you began fapping. Can that be true? I've seen no evidence that that is true, no. One thing that can be true is that your flaccid state can be bigger and fuller. Doesn't mean that your full erection will be any bigger or fuller than it was before. But a lot of people notice that when they're not masturbating, not using pornography, it just feels more full and sensitive through day to day, even when they don't have an erection. Matt says, thanks a lot for your videos. I made some big streaks, fell back a couple of times, and pretty hard 15 days ago, but I'm now on day 15 and feeling already great. Yeah, keep on going, learn from those mistakes, and try not to let them happen again. It's certainly better to reduce your frequency that drastically, but be aware and look out for the danger of still being an addict, but just relapsing in long cycles, meaning you're good for a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then you relapse. Once that becomes a cycle, it can be still really damaging. Even if you're only using pornography every 2-3 months, it still means you're caught in that addictive cycle. And it can actually make it so you're training yourself to hold on to that desire, that compulsion for pornography, even after long periods without it. So it can make the actual full recovery period, the time in which it takes to not be feeling those urges as intensely anymore, it can make that a lot longer once you do leave it behind for good. Omar says, pray for me guys, gonna tell my dad I want freedom from this, wasted so much time. My thoughts are with you, Omar, and I think it's going to go well. Good on you for reaching out for help. Does no-fap help with PIED? Absolutely, 100%. Read my book. Like I said, get it for free as a PDF on addictedtointernetporn.com, or you can find it on Amazon, whack Addicted to Internet Porn. It'll give you all the basics, because it sounds like you're still learning the basics. It has been how many years since you quit? I want to know, did you still get cravings and urges, or is it completely gone? So the first time I quit was the very beginning, very beginning of 2014, very end of 2013, and then I went through some relapse period in 2015, and so it's been more than 3 years since then. And are the urges, are the thoughts completely gone? No. No, sometimes it still comes to mind, sometimes I still get an urge, and without the help and support and the systems that I've put in place, I could very well still be caught in that cycle. It might not ever be completely gone, but it does get a lot better, and days or weeks can go by without me giving it a thought. All right, here's a good one. Hassan asks, how to know if you are recovered from PIED if you don't have a partner, or how to keep track of your progress. It's not something that you can know absolutely for sure until you're just having consistent successful sex, because a part of the recovery period is that rewire, and that necessitates more than just time away from pornography, but conditioning yourself and practicing real intimacy. So there are some signs, however, we can look for that let us know that we're ready to start that rewire. Some of those are more consistent morning wood or random erections throughout the day, a stronger qualitative attraction for people in real life. And if you are masturbating or you want to give it that test, then the ability to masturbate easily and to completion just with lubrication and sensation without any fantasy. So just staring at a wall or not thinking about anything, and enjoying the sensation. If you're able to do that, then you should definitely be physically ready for sex. It still may take some rewire before you're consistently able to have successful, satisfying sex, but you should be physically ready. Your reboot should be complete enough for you to start that. Is it okay to get erection but not masturbate or orgasm, just so you get blood cycles in the tissues? Use or lose need to prevent future ED-like issues. That's not something you need to worry about consciously. There's a built-in mechanism in our biology that takes care of that. It happens during the night when we're asleep. And so you don't need to consciously get an erection just so you can maintain the health of your penis. I'm from India and my English is not good. Can you translate your book into Hindi? I would love to, but I don't have the ability to do that. I do hope in the future to publish another one that's updated with more current information, and maybe that one will be translated into more languages. Adi says, thanks a lot, you are my new god. I'm from France and I'm 16. In 2 weeks a lot happened, confident, and women attraction is real. I'm glad you're having good experiences. I'm certainly not a god. I'm just someone who's trying to help from his own experience. I'm gonna look back and make sure I didn't miss any older questions. This person says he walked the Camino de Santiago across France and Spain, spent 6 weeks on the trail, and that's the longest he's gone without pornography, and that he fell promptly after returning home. And I see this story repeated very frequently, that someone goes off on a big journey, they don't have access to the internet, and during that time is the longest they're able to go without. But once they're back in their familiar environment and surrounded by triggers and opportunities again, it often does not take long at all to go back to that. And so if you do go out on a journey like that and get all that time free from pornography, then you have to have a plan for when you come back. And you have to have systems and plans set in place that prepare you for going back to your old environment. And so you know that it's not going to be like it was before. Because if you don't plan for that, then more than likely you're going to go back to your old behavior. Conquer says he likes the balding video. You're welcome for the honesty. Yeah, it was fun to make. Now, when's the next Q&A that you can expect? I'm going to be trying to do this about once a month now. Isaiah asks, why no morning wood? Most guys do experience it to some extent normally. But not all. Some guys don't experience much morning wood, even if they've never experienced any porn-induced sexual dysfunction. And so you could be one of those people, but more than likely, I don't know your story, I don't know anything about you, but more than likely, since you're here, maybe you just need more time to recover that. Hey boss, how are ya? I was on day 33 today and had sex and it was amazing. Should I reset? Probably not. If you mean reset your counter and think of that as a relapse, that sounds like a great step forward. If that's something that you want, which is amazing sex, which most of us do, so no, I would think of that as a victory and not a setback or something to reset. If you're just interested in maintaining a long streak of celibacy, then okay, go ahead and reset your counter. But if you're looking to recover from a sexual dysfunction or porn addiction and get back to real relationships, real intimacy, then yeah, don't reset. Alright, I think I'm going to wind down now. Looks like questions are drying up a bit and I'm tired of talking. So, yeah, if you'd like to get my personal help, as I said before, you can always find me addictedtointernetporn.com. I do answer my emails. It might take me a few days to a week to catch up on messages because I get a lot, but I do answer them. You can reach out to me at noah@coachchurch.com. All right, we've got a few more questions I'll address before I end. Do you think medications that keep erections away would help with NoFap? I think that's a very bad idea if you're taking them just for that reason. It depends on what your goals are with NoFap, but that seems like there are a lot of risks involved. Most medications have potential side effects or potential long-term effects even after you quit taking them. So I'd be very cautious about doing that. I think there are much better strategies to maintain a streak than that. All right, my friends, I'm going to call it a day. I'll see you probably in about another month for another stream. Hopefully no more recording or streaming difficulties. Thanks for joining me, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Oh, Cameron says, wait, please. Okay, I'll wait. What's your question? Oh, I just relapsed this morning. What are our thoughts on impulsive relapses? What mindset would you suggest to go into when I start to feel this way? I don't know your situation, so it's hard for me to give a really specific response, but what helps most is to have a system in place that really makes it extremely difficult to act on those impulses when they come. One thing that works for a lot of people, like I said before, is having that accountability software in place, so you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that whatever you look at, you're going to have to explain to your family members or your friends. Another is having blockers in place that make it impossible to access that material. Another is not having access to technology in a private space, so not having internet in your home, or only like going to a coffee shop or a library to do work on your laptop, but not having any internet access when you're in a private space. There's all sorts of things that you can do to plan for those impulses, and you can also plan to do something when those impulses come, and have a plan for what you'd like yourself to do. For some people, most often for anybody, that's going to be something that takes them out of that moment and gives them 5 or 10 minutes to get their head above water and start thinking straight. For some people, it can be something physical, like turning on some music and dancing, or going for a quick run, or doing 50 push-ups, or taking a cold shower. For other people, it's more mental. Maybe tell yourself that it's fine to go search for whatever you're having an impulse to search for, but only after you write a whole page in your journal, for example. And that gives you the chance to become that rational part of yourself once more. And as you write, probably be writing all sorts of things like how it felt the last time you relapsed and made that decision, what you've been fighting for, the benefits that you're looking for you've experienced already. And hopefully by the end of that page, you won't want to use anymore. So those are some ideas. Adi says, I just got your email and I'm here, lol. I think you can rewatch the stream once I'm done. So, alright everybody, now I'm ending for real. See you all next time. Have a wonderful PMO free day.